What's up, guys? Mr. Shaper. It's time, our miraculous journey with our favorite China rabbit. Well, the only China rabbit that I know. Our boy Edward, right? Or shall I call him what? Clyde now is his name. So from Susanna to Malone to Clyde, he's still Edward to me, right? And to us and to himself. So we are actually on chapter 17. The last two chapters we read was 15 and 16 together. Right, remember we're coming from Edward getting kicked out of the train, after 7 years being with Bull and Lucy. And some old lady picked him up and put him on a pole and turned him into a scarecrow. So, and called him Clyde. So that's what he was living his life in. He almost gave up, right? He was feeling like really, he said despair or hollow is how he felt, after feeling this love and feeling all this care for people and then getting ripped away from them. He's kind of getting tired of it, right? Kind of like we all do. Like you get tired of, failing, or get tired of being used or being abused, or you get tired of just the way that, people treat you sometimes, or bad stuff happens to you. Sometimes you just want to give up, right? So as he's up there, getting attacked by birds, he's finally Bryce, the little boy who's working the little garden, says, "Hey, I'm gonna save you," and he does, right? So as he's tearing him down or getting him down, Edward's like, doesn't matter. I'm just a doll. I'm just a hollow rabbit. But then, as soon as he gets in Bryce's arms, he feels relief. He feels maybe it's not too late after all for me to be saved, right? Pretty cool. All right, so we're going to read, I think we're going to read 17 and 18 and see how this goes here. See what we got. All right, so here's how it starts. I'm making a prediction here that this is Bryce's house, right? I think, or shack, or whatever that looks like there. All right. Bryce slung Edward over his shoulder. He started to walk. "I come to get you for Sarah Ruth," Bryce said. "You don't know Sarah Ruth. She's my sister. She's sick. She had her baby doll made out of china. She loved that baby doll. But he broke it. He broke it. He was drunk and stepped on that baby's head and smashed it into 100 million pieces. Them pieces were so small I couldn't make them go back together. I couldn't. I tried and tried." At this point in the story, Bryce stopped walking and shook his head and wiped his nose with the back of his hand. "Sarah Ruth ain't had nothing to play with since. He won't buy her nothing. He says she don't need nothing. He says she don't need nothing because she ain't gonna live. But he don't know." Bryce started to walk again. "He don't know," he said. Who "he" was not clear to Edward. What was clear was that he was being taken to a child to make up for a loss of a doll. A doll. How Edward loathed dolls. Loathe means hate. And to be thought of as a likely replacement for a doll offended him. But still, it was, he had to admit, a highly preferable alternative to hanging by his ears from a post. The house in which Bryce and Sarah Ruth lived was so small and crooked that Edward did not believe at first that it was a house. He mistook it instead for a chicken coop. Inside there were two beds and a kerosene lamp and not much else. Bryce laid Edward at the foot of one of the beds, then lit the lamp. "Sarah," Bryce whispered. "Sarah Ruth. You gotta wake up now, honey. I brung you something." He took the harmonica out of his pocket and played the beginning of a simple melody. The little girl sat up in her bed and immediately started to cough. Bryce put his hand on her back. "That's all right," he told her. "It's okay." She was young, maybe 4 years old, and she had white blonde hair, and even in the poor light of the lamp, Edward could see that her eyes were the same gold-flecked brown as Bryce's. "That's right," said Bryce. "You go ahead and cough." Sarah Ruth obliged him. She coughed and coughed and coughed. On the wall of the cabin, the kerosene light cast her trembling shadow, hunched over and small. The coughing was the saddest sound that Edward had ever heard, sadder than the mournful call of the whippoorwill. Finally, Sarah Ruth stopped. Bryce said, "You want to see what I brung you?" Sarah Ruth nodded. "You gotta close your eyes." The girl closed her eyes. Bryce picked up Edward and held him so that he was standing straight, like a soldier at the end of the bed. "All right now, you can open them." Sarah Ruth opened her eyes, and Bryce moved Edward's china legs and china arms so it looked as if he were dancing. Sarah Ruth laughed and clapped her hands. "Wabbit!" she said. "He's for you, honey," said Bryce. Sarah Ruth looked first at Edward and then at Bryce, and then back at Edward again, her eyes wide and disbelieving. "He's yours." "Mine?" Sarah Ruth, Edward was soon to discover, rarely said more than one word at a time. Words, at least several of them strung together, made her cough. She limited herself. She said only what was needed to be said. "Yours," said Bryce. "I got him special for you." This knowledge provoked another fit of coughing in Sarah Ruth, and she hunched over again. When the fit was done, she uncurled herself and held out her arms. "That's right," said Bryce. He handed Edward to her. "Baby," said Ruth. She rocked Edward back and forth and stared down at him and smiled. Never in his life had Edward been cradled like a baby. Abilene had not done it, nor had Nellie, and most certainly Bull had not. It was a singular sensation to be held so gently and yet so fiercely, to be stared down at with so much love. Edward felt the whole of his china body flood with warmth. "You gonna give him a name, honey?" Bryce asked. "Jangles," said Sarah Ruth, without taking her eyes off of Edward. "Jangles, huh? That's a good name. I like the name." Bryce patted Sarah Ruth on the head. She continued to stare down at Edward. "Hush," she said to Edward as she rocked him back and forth. "From the minute I first seen him," said Bryce, "I knew he belonged to you. I said to myself, that rabbit is for Sarah Ruth for sure." "Jangles," murmured Sarah Ruth. Outside the cabin, thunder cracked, and then came the sound of rain falling on the tin roof. Sarah Ruth rocked Edward back and forth, and Bryce took out his harmonica and started to play, making his song keep rhythm with the rain. Pretty cool. We got a new little name, right? We got Jangles. A new home for Edward, or home, right? For now, but it's pretty crazy. Kind of sad, right? These two little poor kids living in this home. I said dad doesn't seem like the best kind of guy after what they said about him. But I think Edward's digging it. What do you think? At first he was a little skeptical, worried. I'm a doll. I'm not a doll. But I think he loved being held like that. I really think he did. First time ever. All right, that's it for chapter 17.